we're
Mm.
beginning to see this team kind of roll together a stronger identity, but it still hasn't quite come to fruition yet.
And that's what can make this even more fun is even though you're out of playoff contention basically, it's being
Yeah.
able to know that the roster that you are building is starting to come together and then play that spoiler can just give you a lot of momentum as you're going into the off season to start working and building towards that next season.
Right. I mean, my apologies. Chablis Slash has a lot of uphill battles here if they want to
Mhm.
see them even kind of come close to that playoffs level. There's still a lot of points on the board. Notably, Merciless sits at 8 on that final and sixth playoff spot. So that's really only two O's and maybe,
Mhm.
another two on top of that. That's definitely within Shadowblade Slash's trajectory. They
Mhm.
just got to make sure that the teams around them underperform and the team themselves overperform for the rest here. So the start, hopefully, of their surge. But either way, it's also the start of the draft here, getting into it
Yep.
right off the bat. A lot of focus towards bot side and mid. You got the Anivia, the Senna, the Swain, and the Yasuo all banned out across the board here.
Yeah, so I like all these bands for the most part. I think Yasuo is must just be straight targeted because otherwise, oh, that is a Seraphine ban. The draft rule seems to be bugging out, which I think that's interesting banning Seraphine on blue side. I that's not typically what you'd expect to see, uh, because otherwise you'd just pick that B1 because Seraphine's absolutely insane. Um, Especially if you're trading kind of the Udyr Seraphine priority, then oh, it looks like they're gonna remake draft, but if you're trading that Seraphine Udyr priority, then typically being able to get the Seraphine is the much better side of that because, she just stops Udyr from playing the game and just kind of ruins his life. So, maybe they are just trying to either force an Udyr ban or pick that up themselves. I'm not entirely sure,
We'll
if
have to
that is
wait and
the
see.
primary. Yeah, but, like, that's just one of those things that always surprises me about when you get into some of these drafts is
Absolutely. And I think, across the board, whether it works out in either direction, I think it'll come to fruition. We'll have to wait and see. I know
yeah.
Bubby, on the other hand, if you guys have been watching Lightning in the past, is highly against seeing Seraphine even touch the Rift in any fashion. He thinks she is disgusting and should be burned at the stake, and that's completely fine by me. I agree. And it has shown strength here across the league. So to see it banned out, not a surprise. And Shadowblade Slash, of course, plays it. So
Yeah.
no big deal there in my eyes.
Yeah, no, definitely not. It's if it's not something you wanna play, it's not the end of the world by any stretch of the imagination if you
Right.
especially if you know it will be played against you.
All right. Either way, we switched out the drafts a little bit. Going to be going over to Pro Draft this time around. Hopefully that works and uh, keeps things smoothly a running here. But either way, like we saw before, Nivea, Senna, Swain, Yasuo, of course, the Seraphim. A lot of focus towards that bot side, making sure the pressure here for either what is going to be Necrox and Dark Dragon or Vorn and Homicidiac, whether she can pull that off in the support role, will come to fruition. So, and of course, Warren being the highest ranked player on their team, that's who you want to ban out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You really do wanna always target, whoever really is the primary carry in one aspect or another and making sure that at the very least, they're not on yeah, there's the UDRB one. So, I mean, if you take away the Viego, that's gonna happen, but I mean, maybe they're just more worried about the Viego or they have an answer for the Udyr. I would actually really not Pike, not Pike, not Pike. Oh, I would have really liked to see them go for something like a Zyra or something that really
Bit
has
more
a
lockdown.
yeah, just a lot of terrain creation because like that's the kind of thing that really messes with Udyr is being able to create terrain, stop him from running at your team, and then you're just locking him down and killing him and you can just slowly kind of edge the other team out. But when you have Pike, you're kind of helping Udyr do what he wants to do. Because a lot of times, you got Chem Tank running, Bear Stance. He's gonna be fast enough to run out of the Pike stun even with that slow applied. So it's just kind of you're almost doing him a favor sometimes.
I will say though that Udyr is going to be resolving onto French here in for Merciless, and that is the star-studded player
Mhm.
for this team. Coin flip carry, as they like to call him. I mean, this is the guy that will run you down the
Yep.
most efficiently in the league sometimes. So, curious to see how he'll pull it off. We've seen Udyrs across the board, whether it be on Redefy or Degenerates Esports. I'm interested to see how that matches up. But either way, bot lane's now picked across the board. Kai'Sa Pike for Shadowblade Slash, with the strength being on Vorn there. And Misfortune Thresh. Necroc's going to show us a little bit of the early game.
Yeah, and I actually really like that answer to something like Pike Kaisa. I think Misfortune can really help to potentially shut her down in the early game. And if you ever get into a situation where Misfortune starts edging out on the Kaisa in any real way, she'll just absolutely walk over the rest of the game because there's not really anything else anyone can do. But then that's a lot of AD with the Tristana pick. That's a lot of physical damage.
You leave it up to the jungle and top to make that decision, but they're already banning out something of like Mordekaiser here from Shadowblade Slash, so it leads me to believe they're going to keep routing towards that direction. So your worries are warranted there, Mr.
Yeah.
Raptor.
This it's when I start seeing things like this, I start getting really nervous for how a team's damage profile and overall composition will play out because,
Really?
when
Crazy.
yeah, dude. Especially when you're going into Udyr.
And they're now banning out their AP junglers?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, so there's one magic damage jungler down, Amumu, he's definitely fallen down a lot of pegs, but he can still go this kind of like tanky magic damage hybrid building with
Right.
demonic, and it still does enough magic damage to warrant building MR. And now you're just kind of both taking away the good options for yourself and them. So I don't really know what the plan from Shadowblade was there. I think Mordekaiser definitely would have been something that could have helped round this draft out a lot. But maybe they have another answer. I mean, Rumble is still available, and I think can do well, but it's just one of those things where I wouldn't like that because where
Lillia's
there's
still
no
available.
setup.
Oh, no, sorry, Lilia is not available. I was about to say Lilia is one of the few
Oh,
junglers
yeah,
that
Lilia
was
would have been
taken
a
out.
solid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Skarner comes through there.
well,
That
that's
is something that Mechanic Maniac does play through with, but it still
mhm,
doesn't answer that kind of mixed damage issue that we come into. So that's gonna be something we'll have to watch out. Top lane, like you said, still has a lot of available options for himself.
mhm.
Dapper Gav doesn't quite have that pull behind him, though. We don't see him playing a lot on the top side that is of the AP caliber. I mean, this guy routes towards kind of the Renekton's, the Aatrox, the Garens. That does
Ooh,
not scream AP in my book. Either
yeah,
way,
you're not getting the magic damage there that you need.
uh,
But
and
then
either
with this
way, oh, go ahead.
oh, no, I'm sorry. A little bit of stumbling over each other's toes.
It's okay. It's okay.
But this
Slightly.
Aatrox, I think, is an interesting blind for top. I think that's definitely still a champion that if you're in any way used to can blind,
Ooh.
and then just be a really strong side top laner for the Udyr to play towards. Okay, Gragas, that does it. Yeah, that rounds that out a bit. He kind of has to go AP Gragas, otherwise there's just
Well, he
not going to
will
be
be.
any.
He will be
It's not a
at this
promise.
point. Raptors over here kind of struggling, saying, Gragas promised me this, buddy. No, no, he has no
Yeah.
choice.
See, you say that, but this, when we're in these, gold elo games, having also played in them, you never know. Nothing is for sure. Nothing is promised. Nothing is guaranteed.
My gosh.
I so it's you have the opportunity. So like, yes, you're right. There is no real choice. He has to build AP, which I think is also a detriment because your front line is just entirely Skarner. And I love the Syndra counter pick into that because Skarner's gonna run at them. Syndra's just gonna push him away and stun him, and that just stops any real potential engage that this team has. Because if Tristana jumps in too early, she's immediately gonna get blown up. Udyr is just gonna be running all over the place, and if anyone other than Skarner gets hooked, they're just going to absolutely instantly die. With Aatrox on a flank, who's gonna be dealing with the Kaisa. Like I don't really see how a Shadowblade's team composition plays well into the game along with each other. I think it really would have liked to see something more control magey come out for Arc of Nine, just to give them a bit more ability to stop up the Udyr and really prevent Merciless from playing their game. Now it looks like they don't really have a way to play their game or play into Merciless's game. So I think they're really going to struggle in how the game plays out just based off draft. Who knows what could actually happen, but that's just kind of what I'm seeing based off of just purely the team compositions.
I will say Merciless has been known to kind of throw some of those team fights out there, not to the most perfect of a degree. And Shadowblade Slash, if
Yeah.
they do perform to the full aggression that is necessary to pull off this comp, because let's be honest, you need those hard engages from
Yeah.
Skarner, Pike, and Gragas to
Yep.
capitalize onto this team, to pull out that misfortune, to get rid of that Syndra in an instant, right? That damage needs to come
Oh yeah.
through, delete it, make the team fight suddenly a 4v5, and then Shadowblade Slash looks like they have somewhat of an advantage to play around.
Well, you still have to do all of that while making sure MF doesn't feel safe enough to ult. Because if MF is ever safe enough to ult, yes, you can be dogpiling onto the Syndra, but you're just gonna be dying the whole time you do it, and it's gonna turn out into kind of a not as favorable trade when you're all low and Aatrox is coming in on that flank, and then you still have a full health Udyr to worry about, and it's yes,
It's a lot.
it's almost relying on Merciless to throw, and then maybe having a Pike come in and start to clean up and chain multi kills together. So we'll have to see if Homicidiac, if she's able to just pull those clean team fights out. And I think navigating team fighting on Pike is extremely difficult. So we'll have to see if she's able to kind of manage her spacing, manage where she is, and timing is super important there. So
Right.
it's just it always, as always, it comes down to execution, but at the very least, I think Merciless has the much easier to execute comp here, and especially when you're looking at, I think, bottom of the field teams, that ease of execution, I think, is what you really, really want, because that's what lets you work on your fundamentals and allows you to just build the building blocks that you need as a team to start to find your way forward, and that's just kind of what I'm seeing from their draft.
No, I think if Merciless, the way you put it, plays to a safer degree towards
Yep.
or through what is the early game, does not let any
Mhm.
early aggression fall in the favor that forces them to bleed out. All
Yep.
they have to do is just run it pretty standard mid to late game. Just assume there already are obvious power spikes, play around the backline, Cinder Misfortune, get your
Mhm.
Aatrox and Udyr on those flanks, like we've been saying. There's no real foot in the door for Shadowblade Slash. Yes, they have a
Mhm.
lot of engage. Yes, they have a lot of CC, but there's too much for them to assess to get that all off perfectly. You pull the misfortune, great. You're still dealing
Yep.
with the Udyr in your backline.
Yeah.
Aatrox is coming at you with
Exactly.
World Enders. Syndra's hitting you in the unleashed power. You're already dead at that point.
Mhm.
So I think for them, like you said, ease of execution is on their board. I will say Shadowblade Slash, they're aggressive on all five picks here. Vorin is the only one that will not scale to full potential into that mid towards late game, right? Everyone else is
Yep.
ready to hit balls, to the walls pretty much
I
instantly and immediately.
I mean,
But
I actually think when you pair Pike with Kai'Sa, she kind of becomes this early game pick with the Hail of Blades. I mean, the amount of
let's
burst that
see
you're
what you
able to put
picked.
down at, like, level 2 and 3 is absolutely insane because, Pike pulls in, gets the stun off, that's already 2 stacks. So with the Hail of Blades, you're already at more than guaranteed to get your passive proc off, which getting Kai'Sa passive proc off in the early game is just a
Huge.
lot of damage. Yeah. If you're not 100 to zeroing someone, you're at the very least forcing an early back.
I will, kind of touch and say that if they do manage to pull out the aggression necessary to
Mhm.
stunt the growth here for Merciless, while Merciless may have something that's easier to execute, if they're constantly playing on the back foot, trying to make up for, each additional loss where, oh, suddenly Necrox is dead. Oh, suddenly Ameth
Yep.
is dead in this fight. And then they're picking up a dragon or maybe getting on that rift. They keep assessing it and approaching each objective like that, or just the early game as a whole, playing around Mechanic Maniac, especially as he gets Impale on his belt. I can
Mhm.
see Shadowblade Slash working through, but it's much harder to play a comp that relies on winning the early game, winning through pure aggression and shutting down the enemy team than it is just to have a comp that, like Merciless's, can just wade through the waters and find success.
Yeah, I totally agree, and especially when you're looking at a team playing with, like, their carry player being a jungle, you have lanes where everyone can at the very least get priority because, they don't necessarily have to go, like you said, balls to the wall, always looking for fights all the
Right.
time. it's happening. But at the same time, that doesn't mean they're not able to establish priority. And so if you can establish priority and then just go and help your jungler with whatever he's trying to do, then you're kind of already setting yourself up for success playing through your carry player and really helping him help you.
Exactly. So I think the general decision for both these teams is pretty clear cut and dry. I'm
Yep.
noticeably interested in Arc of Nine though, especially on that Tristana pick. It's not the usual standard control mage that we expected, and his level of aggression probably needs to be top notch for it to make good use of that choice.
Yeah, because right now all I can think about is if that Tristana was a Malzahar, and
Yeah, like
I hope he proves
what
me
if?
wrong.
Well, what if will be the big question as we go into the entirety of this first game of the first set here. We, on the other hand, though, we've got to go to a short little break as we make our way through the spectator delay. Stick around and stay tuned for the start of tonight's Light League. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Excellency Light League. If you're just joining us, we're getting into the first set of the night, first game here of Merciless versus Shadowblade Slash. I'm going to be your play-by-play caster Zephyr, joined by the lovely photography Raptor as my color.
Hello, happy to be here. And just looking at how we're getting onto this level one, we are seeing a bit of stacking. Maybe we'll see Shadowblade Slash looking for some kind of cheesy pike hook, but I really doubt that's what you're going for if you're not five stacking. Um, but all these pings are coming out from somewhere. I'm not really sure what they think is going on, but I don't like the level one from Shadowblade Slash. If you're gonna do this, just 5 point evenly across the board, and then you can move out for the spire when it's ready. But it's I guess they're just grouping up ahead of time. It's fine.
Nothing falters because of it. They come out
Yeah.
all right. It's no big deal. Could it be a bit more stable? Sure, why not?
Yeah, like it's one of those things where what could have been a really cool like cheeky like level one reaction is oh okay, we know they're spire stacking, we know there's only going to be two on the top side, let's just all stack mid is five and then just collapse on them at level one on the two top. That could have been a fun thing you look for, and that's the kind of thing you set yourself up for maybe falling into. But they don't. No one takes advantage of that, and we move on. So getting into laning, I think really what we're looking for across the board is for Dapper Gav to really be able to get ahead a somewhat, because he needs to be able to be a magic damage threat to force some MR build, because otherwise if Udyr is able to scale straight armor, he'll never die. And then moving down, we can just see in the bot lane mid really just depends on Arc of Nine. Amos doesn't have to play the game. He just gets to do what he wants to and not let Arc of Nine do anything. Then in
Right.
bot, Necroz, all we really care about is he positions well. Like you were telling me, he hasn't
Mhm.
really been having the strongest of showings. So as long as he's positioning well and keeping his farm numbers up, I'm really happy with that.
Ooh. That's a good hook to play off of, but no passive stack for Vorn as of yet. That's one thing you touched on earlier.
Yep.
If he can get those hooks with Pike with the full passive stack, that is a chunk to deal with here. So Vorn, one of the big targets I also kind of want to watch out for,
Mhm.
being that primary carry for the team here. Highest ranked Diamond 4, big boy on the bot lane.
Ooh.
Either way, they are getting pressured pretty hard here from Necrox and Dark Dragon playing on the back foot towards this bot side, I will say.
Yeah, that's kind of what you expect from Thresh MF. Pike doesn't really have a way to force the priority level. Oh, there's the hook.
Oh, death sentence hook
Oh,
into
that's
a first blood.
huge.
Homicide yak. Yeah, she's gonna get out just fine. Either way, bit of an arrogance there, I will say, especially since they had that bush warded, knew Thresh was in it, and still got hooked.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of saw Vorin sitting in that weird gap between minion waves,
Right.
thinking she was safe. But I mean, great look from Dark Dragon to realize that hook angle's there. That's not the easiest hook to hit, because it can, kind of
Yeah, hit the
very,
minion
yeah.
lollipop, you know.
You get a little bit of minion move and you're just done. But does a really good job there, as Necros maybe is out too far.
Little bit far here, but noticeably, Dark
Lantern,
Dragon
lantern.
did stop. Yeah, and that's a good lantern. Dark Dragon did stop the gank coming in from Mechanic Maniac. He went for an early
Mm.
death sentence on him in River there. So, made the 3-2 with the recourse suddenly become just a, 2-1 disengage.
Yeah, and at the same time, we see Mechanic
French.
get both scuttle crab. Oh,
Ooh, big flash. French trying to get the bear stance going at some point here. He finally gets that stun off, but Gav's already under turret, buddy.
it's almost like he flashed after him just because he felt like he was owed the
He
bear slap
wanted
at
it.
that point. He's like, I'm getting this slap one
I
way or
came
another.
top lane. It's gonna happen, all right.
I got double scuttled. I'm getting something out of this.
That does suck. Good point right there. Yeah, like you said, double scuttle for Mechanic Maniac. So early
And a big
XP,
part of
little
that.
CS lead. Yeah,
Yeah, and a big part of that comes from Amith not getting the early priority over Arc of Nine, which I think
we
it is
expected
hard.
it.
Yeah, like Syndra's going to get pushed in early on, But if you know that neither top or mid has priority, why not just go get bot scuttle at that point? Where at the very least you have a bot lane which just 2v2 killed, and you have someone and you can go get that scuttle, and I think just start playing towards bot side. But here he is
Ooh.
top again.
Yep, comes back through. They did spin with the ward. Big flash
Oh
from Gold Flash
no!
doesn't hit that second knock through, but
This
he's
is
gonna
not a
keep
dive.
going her turret.
This is not a
Manages.
dive.
Oh, he went for it, but he got hit by the turret shot, so
Oh
he's down. And
no!
Arcanine with rotation picks up a kill there now.
What
Two
are you
for one, gone
doing?
wrong.
So the coin has tossed up heads at this or tails at this point of the game. Um, I mean, once the flash Q misses from Aatrox, the dive's off. The dive is dead. It's just not gonna happen at that point anymore. And he takes one tower shot too many. And even if he hadn't taken it, ooh, hook lands bot lane, but just a
He's fine.
quick trade. Yeah. I mean, that's just so over aggressive. I mean, and you were telling me that this team does that quite often. I kind of honestly like underestimated just how over aggressive they would be.
Under
But I
turret till death.
yeah, no kidding. Like that's
No,
just
literally.
yeah, literally. So I mean, oh dude, you hate to see it, but we get this quick lane swap in, which I actually really like to see from Shadowblade Slash, and is looking more and more like this team is showing the potential to just let Merciless int into them and pull out this win.
Yeah, but
Oh,
not right now. Poor Gav.
yeah. Poor Gav getting bullied a little bit. They know that if they keep the Gragas down, they can just stack armor potentially, and they don't really have to worry about him. And he doesn't have his flash. He's an easy target. So I mean, yeah, at the same time, if you're a Gragas without your flash and the whole enemy team is missing, maybe don't be right outside mid tower range.
Either way,
Oh,
they're
is it?
going to be pairing that off for that first dragon and
Yeah,
taking the priority from mid.
they're holding the lane swap too. They're not swapping it back.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of an interesting choice because personally, I think Arc9's in a really good spot. Wouldn't you
Yeah,
want to continue to foster the XP, gold lead, and yes, while you need the mixed AP damage and give Dapper Gav a little bit of leeway by putting him in the mid lane, I don't think it's worth losing the already garnered lead on Arc of Nine and forcing Gav to kind of be cannon fodder.
yeah. I mean, just looking at CS numbers across the board, I mean, top lane as a whole is really struggling, and Arc of Nine is doing quite well. So I mean, at the very least, he's showing that the Tristana pick wasn't entirely wasted.
Right.
Um, but I mean, you're totally right that like okay, even though this lane is floundering, it's not like Aatrox is farming particularly well, so he's not going to be too much of a threat as long as we keep him to
Oh
one
man.
or two kills.
Oh man. They go for another switch though on the opposite side. Merciless has thrown Syndra to the top side. Goldfan
Oh
is now sitting mid.
yeah, they because they want to keep that matchup because they know when Syndra hits 6, there's a lot of kill threat onto the Tristana. So now they're just gonna
I
swap
bet
it
they're
back
gonna
again.
swatch.
Are
Let
they
the
really
wave
gonna?
crash. Maybe. Maybe. Not quite. But
Okay, no. Syndra's walking back or Tristana's walking back top. Okay. That would have been
so
funny.
now Tristan Syndra lose out on the mid XP gain, and that flips over. So Goldfan, if he continues to stay there, plays around French, is going to be in a really good spot versus Dapper Gav.
Yeah, I mean, solo lane experience is solo lane experience. It doesn't necessarily get better for mid or top respectively. If anything, it's a bit better for top. Come like those mid late game stages when the cannons stop coming as frequently for mid lane. So you do actually have, if anything, more of an experience advantage top as the time goes on. I forget exactly what the timer is on that, but I mean, just looking at it, it's still about the same situation where at the very least in farm, bot lane's even, mid lane Arc9 has this really nice 25 CS lead advantage, and then it's entirely even at the top lane with a disappointing 50.
I will say something to note is we're going to have to watch for Arcanine doesn't have teleport compared to the rest of the leads here. That's going to be something that might come back to bite them if you have Amith and Goldfan come to a fight and Arc of Nine isn't able to
Mhm.
get there because Arc of
Yeah,
Nine's literally in topside now.
true. Yeah, if they are able to find some kind of an engage, bot side Merciless can, I think, take advantage of that really strong point in Tristana not being there right now, and but at the same time, it looks like Shadowbait Slash is making that move first on the bot side. I think it's smart to call it off because, there's no objective there, but at the same time, French is playing
Oh,
towards the top side, maybe looking for this Herald.
yep. Pulling
Oh,
towards the
wow.
mid. They're going to get the Impale immediately on a gold
Ooh,
fan there. He's taken back. World Ender isn't going to
ooh,
save you, buddy. Dapper Gab finally getting his
ooh.
revenge.
Yeah, and I mean, Goldfan had flash, so I would have liked to see him just, basically instantly R flash out of there. You see the Skarner running towards you. You have to know that the flash R is coming. So
Right.
just a little bit of disrespect shown as the hook.
Death
R,
into the
RMF,
Flavorns.
RMF.
Look, taken out. Necroc's going to get that easy kill on MF there. Beautiful hook once again from Dark Dragon.
Yeah, Dark Dragon is carrying this bot lane right now. I mean, I'm shouting RMF because even though he didn't need to necessarily to secure that kill, you just don't want to risk it at that point because if Kai'Sa ever does anything free, like ult flash out of your auto range, she's basically almost.
Oh, good
Oh,
flash.
hey!
Almost with a good kill, but there's the response from Dapper Gab. Now it's a 2-on-2. They're looking for that chase. They turn both their attention to French, getting the stuns off, but this guy is a powerhouse. They're both going to back off, especially off that rotation from Goldfan there.
Yeah, Amith just showing up and not letting our
Beautiful.
get away. Oh yeah, absolutely. You just really love to see players willing to use that flash, knowing that they're going to secure this kill. It's going to go somewhere. I actually really like that. I think a lot of players maybe a little bit afraid to take that kind of risk, and then they also do a great job of getting out of it once you have that rotation come up and
Right.
and are just playing around that. So great play coming up from Merciless there, really starting to pick it up after that slight foundry in the early game.
All right, in the spot lane here, they're actually finding a lot of great success
Mhm.
off of Dark Dragon. Going to keep bolstering that lead there. You see a little bit of the pushback, but there's the hook into
Garnet here.
Homicidiac. She's going to go deep, try to find the stun, but a good flash from Necrox gets the
Woo!
return kill. Now a teleport into the bot lane. There's a good stun on Dark Dragon as he's going to be taken out by Vorn, finally getting a return for himself. Now in the mid lane, Arc of 9 looking pretty bad, going to be using the jump to try to stem himself away there from French. He's going to be going under turret a little bit, but they trade it off to Goldfan. Arc of 9 is just fine. Now the rest of the team from bot lane coming up here. That's a good flash knock up on the gold flame as they keep the escape going with the explosive cast. Vorn picking up another responsive kill. 2 for 1 now. Favor of Shadowblade Slash.
The fight that never ends, going all the way from bot lane to mid lane. Just another little example there of I think Merciless going a bit too hard for a fight. No!
Oh! Very nice bullets.
Oh. Hate to see it if you're Shadowblade Slash. You just make this really good rotation.
Earn the
for the mid
kills, good
lane.
rotation.
Yeah.
And smite.
Can't smite. That's like the one thing.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Arc of 9. See
All
you,
right,
bud.
so we are now at the stage of the
Deja
game
vu.
where Syndra just quote unquote outplays everybody. Just gets to hit that beautiful outplay button, and Arc of 9 no longer exists. That will continue to happen, and hopefully Arc of 9 recognizes that and sees that the Syndra isn't really a target for them anymore, and she's got to go elsewhere to find any sort of kills. Arc of 9 really has to rotate now, which I think he'd been doing relatively well,
Right.
but
Yeah.
now more than ever, mid lane is not the place for you. Use your passive, push it in really fast, and then just leave the lane because Syndra's just gonna delete you on cooldown now.
Absolutely. And we started off with a really good gank from Arc of 9 playing around that one. So going towards that top side, getting the kill there onto, I believe it was Goldfan. So very nice to see that. Hopefully we can see him continue to extend that out. He's already making a move towards the top side as I bring this up. And no, he's not. He's making a U-turn. He was just warding, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the best ward, I think, for this stage of the game. At that point, if anyone's coming in from there, you're probably already dead. But it's good that he's putting wards down. That's what really matters. That's what we care about.
I didn't know that was the basis. Ooh, Homicide actually almost gets caught out there. Very, very close.
We're talking fundamentals from a lower level play. I'm just happy to see wards being placed and
Calm down, Raptor. There's more to it, and the more is gonna be a great hook by Dark Dragon again. My
Man,
gosh, this
Dark Dragon.
fresh. On top of it.
And he's already my MVP. He is just absolutely carrying this bot lane, putting, setting Necros up to just auto attack and run away with the game. I love to see good Threshes, or at least people who are showing good mechanics on Thresh.
Ooh, big
Ooh,
flash. Mechanic Maniac into the Impale. Goldfan is all but dead here. Doesn't even get to use World Ender. Arc of 9, another kill. And even though Arc of 9 gets bursted down, his burst is just as scary.
yeah, I mean, especially when you're looking at the Skarner being able to run in and lock any target up, that does show that even that as long as you're able to get the E out of the Syndra, she is even still a target for Arc of 9 because the burst is definitely there. It's really just
Ooh,
whoever gets on
Arc
who
of
first. Oh
9.
no, you can't
Oh,
do that.
Shadow we can unleash
You can't
power once
do that.
again. Deja vu times 3. Amith, gotta start paying respect to this guy.
That is illegal gameplay. You are not allowed. It is illegal. It is illegal for you to try to jump onto a Syndra with her E up because it's just nonsense that to think that she wouldn't just E you out of your jump and murder you.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. Now Amith in a fantastic spot coming off of this lane into the 3-0. And while Arc of 9, like we've been saying, is strong, those decision-making skills have not been there.
Yeah, definitely making some questionable choices, but I mean, even getting back to the overall point of these games from Merciless's perspective, I'm seeing a lot of really simple fundamental mistakes that I really shouldn't be seeing from a team that's looking to go into playoffs, and even more potential for Shadowblade Slash to come back and play that spoiler. I think that they're keeping things chaotic enough and rotating enough, and Merciless is honestly playing a little bit into that.
Ooh, good hook. The Flay comes through
Oh,
there, stunned out
God.
with the Ignite. Flash over the
Ooh.
wall. Looking like Dark Dragon's going to be just fine there. Whew.
Yeah, and at the same time, Goldfan forces the flash out of Dapper Gav. I mean, the Gragas he is building AP, so at the very least he's doing what he has to do. But he's been kind of put so far behind, and he's had a couple of shining moments where he's realized that he has to play through his team in order to find any kind of advantage. But he doesn't even have 100 farm yet at 17 minutes, so like it's just going to be so long before he has any kind of itemization to be useful.
I will say Merciless is still in major competition with, of course, all three of these teams, whether it be, I believe, Degenerates Reformed and Shadowblade Slash themselves, to find a spot into playoffs as it stands right now. And Degenerates Reformed has been on the uptick here recently. Either way, Mechanic Maniac going to be pushed back by Good Scout of the Week, Impale into the suppression to Goldflame, hooked out by Dark Dragon. That's going to be the bullet time across the board here. Trying to hit it, does finally find the kill there on to Mechanic Maniac. They look to continue to chase out, but that's going to be a display over the wall onto Homicidiac. Still, Necrox just pumping out the damage with the bullets here from the sides. They continue to push this team further and further back. That's going to be that Unleashed power to take out Borin on the side, now making this a 3 against 5 here. Oh, they turn their attention to Dapper Gav. They're going to be rushing back, and this guy goes for the knockup back, but he's just absolutely eradicated immediately there with Homicidiac.
Dark Dragon is my hero. Period. Mechanic Maniac grabs Goldfan, starts to run away. Dark Dragon hooks him to keep him from dragging him into the team and forces everyone else to come in, setting up Necros for an incredibly safe, perfect MF ultimate onto 3 to 4 members at any given time. So they're running into the MF ultimate, trying to kill the suppressed Aatrox. Meanwhile, you see Pike setting up on the backside. Homicidiac, she's trying to look for honestly a decent kind of flank where she can come in and clean up any kills. But Dark Dragon lands that hook, stops her from getting anywhere, and then immediately also gets out and lives.
Yeah, it's got to suck. It's got to feel pretty bad at that point.
I mean, I- like I don't want to say support Gap because it's Dark Dragon is just having such an incredible game that he's gapping the whole team.
Oh, so it's not support gap, it's player v
It,
team gap.
support is 1v9ing.
Oh, okay. I feel like some people in chat might have some select biases or choices of decisions to play against your thoughts there, but either
I
way,
mean, yeah,
I will
yeah, like,
agree.
that's a bit extreme, like, it's not the
Playing
the
well.
full accurate take, yeah, but, like
Oh,
and, perfect flay,
oh.
perfect flay. I mean, it just
I can pull off a flay like that too. All right, photography raptor.
but it's the consistency. Dark Dragon has consistently shown throughout the game that he's able to land the hooks that he should, land the hooks that are honestly sometimes impressive, and get
Yes.
the simple mechanical things off. We saw him get a save the MF with the lantern that yes should have been saved. Oh, French, you ran right on the barrel.
Right.
But when people are saying, "Oh, French is the carry of this team," I'm like, "What do you mean? It's Dark Dragon."
They definitely have said themselves that they have some extended coin flip carry with French, but they do have just a general strength across the board here for Merciless. You know, they're all friends. They all play together. They've got some general prep across the board. They like to
Yeah,
sing
yeah.
sea shanties, drink chocolate milk, and eat pineapple. If you, of course, remember that from last cast, you don't, but they might. Either way, they've got the consistency to play through either which the bot lane, the mid lane, across the board, and French is just simply an enabler, and we saw that time and time again this game. But I will say, Dark Dragon pretty much completely shutting down Vorin on that
Oh
bot
yeah,
side by himself. Maybe a little bit of some whiffs from him, Homicidiac, but overall, it's a good note to see, especially when Vorin is supposed to be that supreme carry that's gonna, open up the
yeah.
doors for Shadowblade here.
And support is the position which really dictates the pace of bot lane. It's not AD carry. So
Right.
if you are able to as a support kind of just set your bot lane up to stop the carry player from being able to get into a position to run away with the game, then you're already doing, everything you need to do. And then at that point, and doing anything more is just going above and beyond.
Either way, Dragon's going to be up in the next 2 minutes. Baron is currently on the board here, available for both squads. Curious to see who's going to be positioning out. We've seen time and time again, though, a level of consistency in terms of ward control from Merciless. So definitely the favorites.
Yeah, I think their vision's a little shallow. I would like to see Merciless start moving their vision up into the enemy jungle so they can, start prepping any kind of objectives well in advance and understand, okay, they're coming from this way. Oh, Amith might be caught here.
Wow,
Ooh.
amazing Zonias!
That was clean. That was enjoyable. Oh, and
That
at the
was
same time,
so
getting topside.
clean. Yeah, there's Goldfan pulled back by the Impale. He's going to be just bursted through the passive stack from Vorin. He flashes over the wall, but the Killer Instinct is on the follow now. French coming in over the side to get the stun off before Goldfan goes down. Vorin now looking
Oh, don't
very
go back
bad.
in.
Going to be flashing over the walls. The teleport's coming through from the side. Necroc's pumping out damage over the wall as we have the teleport come through with the Scatter the Weak for that double kill there from Amit.
And now Amos clapping right back and just absolutely man-moding that fight. Just incredible fight there from him, the rest of the team. Goldfan did a great job surviving as long as he did, getting over the tower, keeping the Kaisa, that blast cone. Even though she went with him, she wasn't able to auto attack that whole time, so that's buying even more time for his team to come and help him. And then, I mean, it's just all resolving into this beautiful teleport from Amith, able to come in, clean up the fight, get Baron. Now they immediately transition down to Drake. We see bags coming through, so there shouldn't be any contest. Okay, Dapper Gav cancels his. Wait, why are you? Wait, no, just take the Drake. Just take the Drake. Okay, so they decide not to take Drake.
Granted, they just used pretty much a
Like,
good, decent chunk of all around
I
it, but
yeah, I
is
understand that, and
crazy.
and and they're depending on how fast they're able to burst through it, which I think is really fast considering all five of them are there. It's not a lot of HP that you have to get through that fast. There, you might have to give one up to Mechanics ult, but at the very least, you're able to secure both of those objectives and get your Dragon Soul. So I think even losing 2 or 3 Barons is worth securing that 24-minute soul.
Things within, but I don't.
All right, you
They're
are
in a
cutting out
good.
a little bit, so just to go further into some of the itemization that I'm seeing here, we are seeing Amith. I'm guessing that is uh, either his Horizon Focus or a Death Cap. I'm thinking Death Cap, or actually no, I like the Horizon Focus look on the Syndra. Thinking about it more, I think if once you're able to just land that stun into ultimate combo, Horizon Focus is just gonna blow up really anyone. Whoo! Okay.
Very.
Yeah, so the E alone is already starting to pump out a lot of damage from Syndra. So I mean that has to be the target. But at the same time, Necros has been playing to kind of the condition that I was looking for him as a player.
Amith
He's
over
just
the wall. Amith over the
Whoa!
wall. Double scatter the weak
Woo!
into the stun. Necrox with the pump damage. Now they look to chase. Dapper Gav's looking pretty close there. Amith stepping up with Dark Dragon. Both of them. No hook to come through there in a bad spot. There's the explosive
Oh,
cast. Amith
yeah,
looking
too
low.
too
Too
much.
far forward. Too far forward.
But it looks like Homicidiac just got the kill. She didn't get the ult kill, so no one else got any kind of gold on that, and that's just 1,000 gold going over to Pike, which is kind of wasted gold in my opinion. It's I really would have liked to see that go on to someone like Arc of Nine or Vorin, especially Vorin. Now that we're getting into the later stages of the game, getting him up and running would be awesome, especially considering how far back he is from any kind of evolve. He did go for the Kraken Slayer Executioner's build, which I think is fine. But I think against a team like this, getting your evolve quickly is going to be really important. And so I maybe would have liked to see not necessarily that execution or the collector coming through there for him. The only person you're really going to be truly collecting is Udyr, that 5%. That's really the only person right now who I see that making enough of a difference on the matter.
That's
Maybe
fair.
the Aatrox.
I can agree with that one. And I've heard many times that the evolves definitely of a power spike of more importance. So yeah.
Yeah, because you're getting your Q evolve off of one AD item anyway, so you might as well just like get the pickaxe for the 875 gold, and then just start specking into whatever attack speed item you're going to be going for. I think in this case, like Phantom Dancer would probably be it because you want to make sure you're able to kind of kite around Udyr and Aatrox. You're never gonna kite fully away from them, but they're also never gonna be grouped up enough for oh god, Runans to be making much of a difference there. As Merciless is setting up for a play bot side. And
Merciless.
then calls it off.
No, they're still setting up for play, and not quite, not quite.
It's they all set up like they're about to do something, and then they just all casually walk away as if to prove me wrong.
Well, they're still at the bot side. Amith looking pretty good there, placing the bulls out there. Necrox, big flash forward there. French over the side, and now all four members. Dapper Gab faces death with the confidence of unwary. Poor guy.
Yeah, so it's
Poor guy.
it's one of those moments where if you're going to die no matter what, just save your flash. It's so much more useful if you're able to get that
In
flash off,
fairness,
like,
he didn't know off the side
right.
that they were going to come from the jungle, right?
True, they don't have any vision in their
No
bot side.
vision.
They don't really have any vision on the map. They have they have two
That in
wards
itself is a topic.
I mean, both teams I think only have like 1 to 2 wards down right now. I see 1, 2, 3 for Merciless and 1, 2 for Shadowblade Slash.
Necrox. Ow. That'll be
Clean Lantern. Clean Lantern.
sure. Dark Dragon, good job. Necrox, what's your positioning, buddy?
Hey,
I can be
it's-
mean to Necrox. He casts Heavy League. I'm his boss.
There you go.
He might that later.
Flame away, my friend. I actually just realized something too a couple minutes ago. Is Arc of Nine a play on Arcanine, the Pokemon? Is there
Arcanine. The Arcanine.
Arcanine?
Arcanine.
I'm wondering now.
Wondering if I could push, but evidently
Okay, you're cutting out a bit again, so I'm taking over while you battle the robot in your head.
I'm
Setting up for Drake. Are you okay now?
close.
Okay. So they are setting up for the Drake Soul. We do like Shadowblade Slash has to contest, but oh, Dark Dragon lands the hook. All right,
Over the wall though. He's deep in the backline. Neck with that double to here. Vorin bit too far. Gonna be taken out. That's a trip. Crocs turns to Dapper. Can he? Quadra. Boys, you let him have it. And he is with the Insane! Quadra for next.
Yeah, Kraja for Necrox. Like positioning very clean throughout that fight. He's on full health, basically full mana right now. I'm really happy to see how he moved about that fight. Of course, all starting out from Dark Dragon's beautiful hook onto the Skarner to stop any kind of potential engage there. They turn off the Drake right away, which I think is really smart. And now they're moving up towards the Baron, and then from there, what I'd like to see now that you're starting to get some of Shadowblade Slash come in, go ahead and get your backs from this. Spend what gold you have. I think you should start rounding out some of those final items that you're getting, and then really what I'd like to see is for them to set up kind of like a 4-1. I don't think that a 1-3-1 is what's ideal here. I think if you're able to set up kind of a 4-1, 4 mid, 1 top, really prioritize getting that last inner turret down, then you can start to maybe move towards a 1-3-1 to pressure all of those inhibitor turrets. But I really want them to play towards that top side right now, get that tower down, and then really pressure those inhibs and try to start breaking into the base because we're at 31 minutes in the game right now. You have 2 Barons and Dragon Soul. It's 23-8. So this is where you need to start closing the game out really cleanly.
I agree. I think at the end of the day, though, that there's a lot of leniency at this point for the side of Merciless. 23-8, it's definitely put themselves at a huge advantage. And overall, Shadowblade Slash, can you really tell me a really solid victory that they've pulled from this team in the last 20 minutes, right? We had some decent early game skirmishes, but on top of it, we go back to that ease of execution
Yeah.
we brought up in the draft. It's so easy for the side of Merciless to play off one of these major team fights and find their way to success. You can't get a good lockdown at any given point
Mhm.
without having to worry about these additional carries that you've got to deal with. And since Amith, Necrox, French, Goldfan, everyone's looking pretty good, especially major fed on, Necrox and Amith, but it's so much to play around that you're given less than a chance.
Yeah, I think you put it excellently, to be honest.
Excellently.
See what I did there?
Excellently.
Yeah, that was intentional, believe it or not.
Speaking of which, Shadowblade Slash isn't at their base, by the way.
Oh, they're listening to me. They did a 4-1. They did a 4-1.
But no one's
Oh, I'm so proud
defending
of
it.
you. I'm so proud of them. Yeah, they went topside. They were like, all right, let's kill the Aatrox.
Let's kill the Aatrox. Now it's just 3 on there. They've already taken down 1 Nexus turret. Someone's got to defend this fight. You don't even have Mechanic Maniac. You're
Gab,
main
stop
engaged.
defending. Gab, just leave the inner turret. Who cares about the inner turret? Your Nexus is dying.
They're going to keep pushing back. Damage Born looking
Oh,
very low off the pairing there from Amith on that backside. He doesn't go down, but now the fight continues. Taking out the 2 is the back. Arcanine. He's going to go down next. Stun through and through. The burn, not quite, but the smite going to do it. Dapper Gav turns back around. He's looking for a fight, but Vorn, the only one left alive, and Damage is going to be hooked out and blown apart by rocks. Merciless.
Yeah, so they
A stream dominant victory.
as you once again fight with the robot in your head, I will just close it out here. They do actually manage to end this game relatively cleanly, partially thanks to how Shadowblade Slash just kind of more or less let them. You didn't defend against the 4-man. Instead, you tried to pick off the 1. It's there are times when you can make plays like that, but not when the enemy team is pushing down your Nexus with an Infernal Soul ready to end the game. You basically have to take an all or nothing 5v4 and hope that you're able to get onto those carries and kind of close it out.
The position as a whole for the very last of probably some of the worst from Shadowblade Slash over the course of that entire game. We're talking a full open 4-man with Baron buff crashing into your midwave, taking an easy inhib without any contention in the first Nexus turret with little to nothing in response. At that
Yeah,
point, you got to question what's to give here.
and I do want to call back into question the Tristana pick and the positioning from Tristana throughout the game. Tristana, um, I saw several times trying to fight team fights front to back rather than just trying to find like a side flank almost, because I think when you're playing Tristana mid, one of your most important jobs is to get onto the back line. You already have a Kaisa who's there to kind of eat through the front and take that. Your job is more to try and find a way onto those carries, and trying to do it directly through Udyr, Aatrox, Thresh. It ain't it. You want to be coming from the side, be coming from out of vision so you can get in, trade a kill, if you're trading you for MF, you for Syndra, that's at the very least entirely worth it, and maybe your team is able to find a way in and clean up. But if you're just trying to jump in through everybody, it's just never gonna happen.
Well, at this point, they've proven, at least Merciless on this side has proven that they definitely have the goal to find themselves into a victory. We are going to be right back as we get things set up for our second game approaching that one. Stick around, stay tuned to see whether or not they can finish it out in a 2-0 here against Shadowblade Slash, or maybe find their way into the seat of the loss.